breakfast puppies?
This podcast contains adult language and content and is meant for mature audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
Hey everybody, the Glitterbois are in town!
How are you this fine afternoon, good sir?
If I was any better, they'd have me bronzed and placed in the village square as a warning to children.
You know, I wonder if we were to start some kind of a crowdfunding campaign, what tier we would put that as.
Bronze Matthew.
Yeah. Well, no. So either it could be a reward. If you back at this level, we send you a bronze statue of Matthew, or it could be a target. At this level, we get to bronze Matthew.
Like, I need to live, though.
Yeah. Well, you know, speaking of Kickstarter or crowdfunding campaigns, I today have decided that I am having a mid-afternoon whiskey and beer back in celebration because several years ago I published a game called Moto Bushido, and it was a role-playing game of samurai that ride motorcycles. It's completely unlike anything Palladium mechanics wise. It's a kind of a fruity granola story game with a lot of death. It's got at least one thing in common with Palladium there, but then after that published, I want to say like 6 or 7 years ago it was, I started working on a follow-up which took the same game mechanics, but instead of groups of samurai who ride motorcycles, it was robot mecha fighter pilots and Gatai transforming Voltron style robots. You know, you got the tiger, the dinosaur, the wolf, and whatever, and then you form the big giant robot in the end.
Wait. Say that again. I'm almost there.
It was my love letter to the anime Gunbuster and another one I'm very fond of called Majestic Prince, but you know, you can't go wrong with Voltron and the Power Rangers either. It's just that whole color-coded team uniforms, each one basically telling you not only your position in the team, but a little bit about your psyche kind of stuff. Like, you know, the red pilot versus the yellow pilot. Whoever wears that red jumpsuit is going to have to fill the role, you know?
Yeah, that's true. And whoever has the black lion analog is definitely moody.
Yeah. Oh, black's a good one in this one. So it's called Gatai Bushido, and I was supposed to have published it in 2018. That didn't happen. As Kickstarters go, this one has run several years late, and due to a number of life events, it kept getting pushed out further and further. Well, I finally, today, finalized the text. Like the rules text, the text to play the game, all of the rules, the colorful text, the sidebars, all of it is currently now uploaded publicly for people to read and provide final pre-editing feedback. So I'm really excited about this. This was something that I actually took the whole week off to work on, and it's only Monday. Yes. So, woo.
Same artist as Moto Bushido?
You know, yes and no. Initially, it wasn't. Initially, I had contracted with another fella, and he did a lot of good stuff. But he got more and more hard to get in touch with and kind of flaked out on a lot of our online meetings, like business talk stuff, to the point that I didn't hear from him for a long time. You know, there were good reasons for some of that, but for most of it, it was just like flakiness or something. I don't know. So he and I, after he submitted a lot of good stuff, parted ways on okay terms. And then, yes, I recontacted the fellow who did all the art for Moto Bushido and brought him on to fill it out. And he's going to be doing the cover as well.
Nice. So if you haven't seen Moto Bushido, I own a signed copy. You know, I kind of got an in with the author.
Yeah.
It's really cool. So you owe it to yourself to check this out. You absolutely do.
Yeah, that game, Moto Bushido, was my what would you get if you took Sons of Anarchy and Seven Samurai and sort of them together, and that's what you got, you know. Tokugawa's shogunate samurai riding Harleys.
Boy, I sure can't stand when people don't show up for business meeting events.
Yeah, it's pretty shitty.
Incidentally, how late am I on this one?
Who's counting?
Yeah, doesn't pay no mind to that.
We are adults, you know. We have busy schedules, and I'm still of the opinion that this is a fun project. Right now, you and I aren't exchanging money. This isn't business. Maybe at some point we might put out like a Patreon or a coffee page or something. I've kind of toyed with the idea, but I want to at least have us out for a year, you know?
Yeah. Incidentally, whoever sent us the tip, we like you very much.
Yeah.
You're good people.
Yeah. You know who you are. I would say your name aloud, but it's also your email, and I just don't really want to say people's emails online. So thank you very much. We appreciate it. Also, I want to give thanks to some people online on Twitter. One just like a few minutes before we started recording today, somebody posted that they had nominated us in the Talk podcast section for a potential Emmy, which is the role-playing game awards.
Nice.
I've never personally had much truck with the Ennies because, you know, so many of the people that submit to it are self-submitted, like, hey, you should give me an award kind of submissions. But when someone else submits me in the stuff that we do, that's fucking rad.
Yeah, thank you, whoever did that.
Yeah. That would be... Who is it? Clem. Oh, and speaking of Clem... Today, Matthew, I want to try something a little bit new.
Okay.
So I know we've done the character spotlights in the past of characters from the books or from the fiction that has inspired the Palladium role-playing game settings. But you know how you go to a convention or you're at a game store and, you know, that guy, he comes up and says, let me tell you about my role-playing game character. And then you're like, fuck.
Well, here I am for the next 20 minutes. All right.
Well, this is that, but good.
Oh, okay.
Someone named Clem, and actually a couple other people now have started following suit, has been sending characters that they're just rolling up online that are fully statted out, but very interesting. And I figure it could be fun for us to do a character spotlight wherein we take one of these characters and create a story for them.
Okay. What do we got here? Let me open this up.
All right. I just shared this with you. This is
here we go.
What Clem sent in is a character named Whiff from the After the Bomb Palladium role-playing game.
Oh, this is great. So we have Whiff. He's obviously a mutant because he is a frontier muskrat, an anarchist frontier muskrat.
He does what he wants.
Yeah. He's got $40 in his pocket. He weighs 65 pounds. He is a little over 2 feet tall.
That's a hefty 2-footer there.
Yeah.
He's a chunky boy.
Yeah. Maybe a badger looking thing.
Yeah, he doesn't really have much in the way of high stats, except he's very charming. He's got a pretty high mental affinity here of 16. Everything else is average, although I would say his speed is 7. So yeah, he's a chunky boy.
Yeah, he muskrats. He speaks French. Okay, so we have Whiff, the French muskrat. So some interesting skills there. He's apparently a saboteur. He's got wilderness survival, hunting, tracking, trapping, land navigations, demolitions, athletics, swimming, detect, ambush.
Okay, so I'm definitely getting a distinct redneck vibe from this guy. Like
I'm not. I'm getting like a French special forces muskrat here.
Okay. I guess I just sort of looked at it from the living in the New Orleans bayou, Louisiana bayou kind of thing. Like, you know, he can hunt, he can trap, he survives in the woods, he knows how to live on his own. And like all good rednecks do, occasionally he likes to blow shit up.
Yeah. What do they call it? The COS? special forces for the French.
What with the French Legion? I don't know. I don't actually know.
No, it's gendarmerie.
Sure.
Pikemen. They have pikemen.
Yeah.
The
I don't think this
gendarmes.
is a pikeman though.
Okay.
He's got a knife. I mean, you could attach that knife to a stick, I guess.
He is a sniper. He has he's got a bolt action rifle, which I assume, if he had a shotgun, I would say, I'm completely wrong and you're right. He is he's swamp people. But
I mean, bolt action rifle, he just goes forth and, he likes to go ratting every now and then. Shoot some womp rats out in the, Beggars Canyon.
Does that count as a cousin if you're a muskrat?
But the French thing is very interesting, which, of course, I'm sitting here looking at this coming from the perspective of being a resident of North America, but this could be France. Yeah. I don't really know all that much about After the Bomb. If I understand, it was what replaced Ninja Turtles after that license got terminated.
I could totally see a French mutant muskrat in Ninja Turtles, like with a really bad accent.
My name is Whiff. Whiff.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a Pepe Le Pew thing. I mean, Whiff the muskrat, right?
Yeah. Oh, yep.
But without the rest of Pepe Le Pew.
You're right. He's got bad musk. So if you are unfamiliar with After the Bomb, like the Ninja Turtles game, it has you build mutant animal characters, and they have a thing called bio-E, or biological energy, that you use to buy your character's abilities. And we can see what was spent here. This looks like it was 60 base, but he got a 5-point bonus from taking some flaws. So, you can play a character that is like a muskrat on the ground for all intents and purposes, looks like one, but is intelligent anywhere. And you can change your size. You can change the way you stand. If you look human-like or you look more like an animal, your hands, your speech, etc. So he went whole 9 yards at least on hands, speech, and stance. He's just a humanoid with a muskrat head.
Yeah.
But he
a very small
bad.
humanoid.
Yeah.
He can see in the dark. He can hear better, hold its breath, has decent brute strength, and has sonar. Yeah, sure. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I'm getting more of a hunter vibe. Definitely. Yeah. And he stinks to high hell. And is nocturnal. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, night hunter.
So okay. So a story for Whiff here.
I've got an idea.
Okay.
We'll start with he was once some kind of a sapper or a sniper or something, some kind of a military.
He was
commando.
He was an engineer.
Yeah.
General repair, carpentry, demolitions, land navigation. Yeah. He was an engineer. Sapper type.
And I think then he retired or went AWOL or some way left the military and is now in his years, hence his slowness. Actually, physical stats really aren't all that good across the board. So he's in his years at this point, and he's retired to the bayou where he's like this weird old redneck or something. And I think the heroes have to encounter him.
So here's the thing. As an old muskrat sapper who has taken a long retirement in the bayou, his entire environment is rigged. Like we're talking mega bad nom here because, it's underwater rigged. There are floating mines. There are tripwires. There are trees rigged to fall. The snap down limbs with spikes in them from Conan that impale people. There's lots of stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. This guy is going to be difficult to sneak up on. So I think he's going to be in a situation where if we're going to use this guy as an NPC, we want to make him, what's the word I'm looking for? We want to make his loyalties uncertain at the beginning. So he could go either way. This could be somebody that they piss off, or if they play their cards right, he might become a good resource.
No, I got it. He has information on something from his old military background that the party needs. So they go looking for him, as most parties do. They just kind of wander in looking for him. Hey! And all of a sudden they start taking damage, right? So they start seeing him as an enemy. Now, he's not necessarily an enemy. He just wants to be left the fuck alone.
Get off my land.
Yeah, he loves his swamp. He is a muskrat. This is where he lives.
Get off my land.
Wait, what was it? Was it Futurama? Get out of my swamp, you crazy kids.
Yeah, I could totally see this. It reminds me, now that we're talking about this whole French thing, there was this meme going around. I want to say it was during Katrina, but it might have been newer than that, when there was some natural disaster and there were a bunch of people looting. And then somebody posted this picture that said "Lauders will be shot." And
with
then,
all the hillbillies in front of it.
Yeah. It was this,
I love that one.
It was just like hand painted, "Lauders will be shot." And then somebody responded to it with a picture of an otter wearing a French hat saying, "Lauders are not afraid."
That is honestly on my top 3 of memes. Like when I'm introducing myself to people and we're trading memes, that's how I can tell if they're my people or not.
It's a good one. Yeah.
That and the German Shepherd one, not to get too sidetracked. Have you seen that one?
Which one?
Get back. I have a German Shepherd. This guy's getting robbed at gunpoint. He's like, I ain't scared of no dog. And all of a sudden, a shepherd, like with a crook, comes leaping over, screaming in German with his attack sheep.
That's
and
good.
he's screaming in German, "No mercy, my children."
Yeah. I'm really fond of the angry white woman yelling at the confused cat. I just love that one. She just looks like such a Karen.
So we've got Whiff, the old special forces recluse, who has taken up living in the bayou. I like that. And everything's trapped all to hell. And he's not bad. He just wants to be left alone.
I like that he has sonar and he's a good swimmer.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is just perfect. Like, he's just going to be kind of like Arnie was in Predator, just kind of swimming around. Occasionally his little head pops up and he's got a knife in his teeth and he drops back down and swims over.
Lattes, I'm not afraid.
Yeah. This guy's good. Whiff the Muskrat. Yep.
Yeah. Now, I can't promise we're going to do this for everyone that comes our way, but send us an interesting character. We might talk about it.
Yeah. If all we get is just a slew of juicers and combat borgs, but if they're interesting, then hey, cool. Yeah. Because Palladium lets you make some interesting characters. You don't have to devote your entire skill selection options to making a total badass. Secondary skills, I think, are more fun when they're used to diversify what your character can do. Like, you may be trained as a special forces guy, but this guy, probably also learned to cook on his own. Who knows? He might even be a good cook. Maybe he's that weird old chef at the local truck stop.
Yeah. I like that he also knows sign and sewing.
Yeah. I think domestic skills are the fun ones that you can use to really diversify a character.
Well, that's all I have for Whiff here. He's got $40 in his pocket.
Yeah, he's definitely not the kind of person that you're going to beat up for money.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a cool dude. Thanks for sending him to us there, Clem. Much appreciated. This was pretty fun. Keep them coming, folks. Make them interesting.
Yeah, think of the weird corners. I'm more prone to vagabonds or pacifist glitterboys or just weird things. Scrupulous necromancers, stuff like that.
It reminds me, I don't know if any of you have watched an anime called One Punch Man. And in One Punch Man, that I think it's the first or second episode of season 2, there's this character. The whole episode is about how this character is like the greatest of the greatest of the greatest of the top ranked heroes. And, all the other characters want to be him. However, he's he sucks. He has no superpowers whatsoever. He's just some like porn loving hentai masturbation dude who just happens to be built or have really cool hair. The only reason people think he's a hero is that he has super strange luck, and bad guys tend to just happen to accidentally die around him.
That's handy as fuck.
Like that is an interesting character.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Thanks for tuning in.
Catch you next time. You've been listening to The Glitterbois, a Palladium Books fan podcast. Glitterbois, Rifts, the Megaverse, and all other such topics are the property of Kevin Siembieda and Palladium Books. Please buy all their stuff and help keep them in print and making more games. You can order directly at palladiumbooks.com, and their entire catalog is available digitally at Drive-Thru RPG as well. Our opening music is 8-Bit Bass and Lead by Furby Guy from freesound.org. This closing music is Caravana by Philip Gross, available at freemusicarchive.org. All sound effects used are self-made or acquired via Creative Commons 0 license. If you like what you have heard, find us on Twitter and Facebook as The Glitterbois. That's BOIS. And check us out online at breakfastpuppies.com/glitterbois. And also join us on the Breakfast Puppies Network Discord at breakfastpuppies.com/discord. And if you want to help us out, please spread the word and help us build a community. Thanks again for listening. We'll catch you next time.
You know, we normally go for a little bit longer than this on an episode. So
We can keep it short.
I was just going to say, I just watched the live action of Cowboy Bebop. Have you seen it yet? How many have you watched? I'm like 6-7 episodes in.
I watched part of the first one.
Okay.
Yeah. And I watched like clips of the later stuff just to kind of be like, should I? It hasn't bought me yet.
I really liked it. It's close, but it's not the same. Yeah, I think the Vicious character is great. I really like it. It's a lot of fun for me.
You know, I've got this love-hate relationship with remakes. I don't like them for the most part. You know, actually, you know what? Let me take that back. I have a hate relationship with remakes. I just generally don't like them. Like, I don't like the idea of like remaking something. Now, translating something, you know what? I'm more okay with that. Like, okay, imagine, right? Imagine if somebody came and took your favorite book and said, I'm just going to rewrite it.
Christopher Tolkien, Brian Herbert. Yeah.
No, they just took the core book.
Yeah.
They didn't write sequels or prequels. They took the core book and they didn't say, I'm going to make a show out of this. They didn't say, I'm going to make a movie out of this. They said, I'm just going to rewrite this book. I think I can do it better. Fuck you. Like, what? No. The whole reason that book is good is because you didn't write it. It's because someone better than you wrote it. And the whole, I'm going to take something and make it better. Like,
Okay, but what about in a situation where the story is unfinished?
if the story's unfinished, then pick it up and carry it forward. But don't like start it over from the beginning. You know, we don't need to see Batman's origin story 18 times.
And yet we've seen Batman's origin story 18
Exactly.
times.
Exactly.
So you didn't like the new Dune?
I fucking love the new Dune, but the new Dune is a translation of from one format to another. I have loved all of them. I loved the sci-fi show, what versions, as weird as they were. I liked the fucking strange ass David Lynch one. I'm sorry.
That's still my favorite.
The Alan Smithy one, if I remember correctly. Yeah.
I was waiting for the tripods during all of that. There was a lot of
You know, the sound was both good and off. Like, so dear listeners, we're probably going to have some spoilers here for the Dune movie. So if this is a movie that you haven't seen and you don't want to be spoiled, just skip to the end.
Yeah, it's still in theaters now. So this is a legitimate warning. We're going to talk about it here.
Yeah, because why not?
Okay, so I'm going to start with one of the things I think they got really, really right, and that was Duke Leto. And the entire, like, I preferred the David Lynch actor because I really like that actor.
William Hurt?
Yeah. No. That's not William Hurt in the
John
David
Hurt,
Lynch version. No, it's the guy from Das Boot. Like old school.
Leto? Wasn't Leto? Oh, okay. I got it. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway.
Maybe I'm thinking of the show.
But he looked Greek. And the Atreides are supposed to be descended from ancient times of the House of Atreus. You know, and I mean the guy looked Greek.
Also, I like the fact that Paul was young.
I didn't like how skinny he was. He was supposed to be water fat. They brought that up a lot in the book that, oh, you are fat with water. And this was a real skinny kid. Like Kyle MacLachlan, chubby face.
Yeah.
This kid, all angles and long chin.
But I will agree, Leto was perfect. It took me a look through IMDb to realize that was one of the guys from the new Star Wars trilogy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did not like their version of Jessica, the lady Jessica. Jessica is strong. And this Jessica spent a lot of time weeping and shaking and whinging on. Like, Jessica is supposed to be like this tough-minded rebel who just fell in love with the Duke. Like, not this scared, out of control, not a master of her own environment like this movie brought forth. And I didn't like that at all.
I actually liked the character, but I see what you're saying. I liked the way she did it. It wasn't the same as the character from the book, but I think it was still a good character. And I wish that they had showcased her true badassness earlier in the film, like towards the end when I think she fights like later or something.
Just for a second.
A second, you're like, oh, that's right. She's a badass. They didn't quite do enough of a good job of hinting at it early on. So I both really liked it, but I also agree. Yes. And it also tied into what do you say ties into something that I was having a discussion with someone else about, of how female heroes fall down a lot, or they stop and cry a lot in movies and in shows. No. It wasn't a conversation I was having. I was watching that Movies That Made Us, and it was the one about Alien.
I need to see that. Yeah.
It's really good. It was the one on Aliens.
Ripley doesn't stop and fucking cry.
Never once. She doesn't stop and cry. She doesn't stumble as she's running away. She was a capable person who was also a woman. And the whole stop and cry thing is typically only given to female characters. So yeah. Jessica was portrayed as a little bit more feminine.
A lot weaker.
Yeah.
Jessica was portrayed as a lot weaker than any other. And I didn't care for that. I also didn't care for the 21st century idiom, which has apparently survived into the 10th,
Such as?
I'm good with that. From Leto to Duncan to Paul, everyone's good with that.
Here's the thing. It was both grating on me. I was like, but at the same time, it's not like the Lynch movies where they basically just take all the words from the book and put it into voiceover. And this, they had to basically demonstrate certain aspects of characters. Duncan was a little too urban, I think.
I love the character of Duncan, and he's so important in the later books. And I just I love that actor.
How many times does Duncan die?
Millions, thousands. I did not like that Duncan either, and I thought he stayed alive way too long. I kept going. You're supposed to die. You're supposed to die back at the palace. What are you doing? But I was as I was getting madder and madder, he did eventually die, and I'm like, oh, thank God, they can continue the story right now.
All right, I want to talk about some things that I loved.
Yeah, ornithopters.
I was just about to fucking say that. The ornithopters were amazing. Just the whole yes.
That is now, for those of you who aren't aware, and aren't like neck deep in geek culture. Ornithopters began, I want to say, with John Carter of Mars. That's the first ornithopters. The fly flappies.
Well, I know
basically.
they're in the books.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I believe it was the Mars series by Burroughs.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, could be. I have no idea.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a Barsoom thing. But Dune has them as well. And the first movie edition of Dune did not do it well. They had flying triangular bricks.
Oh, just the boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
Boom, boom. Like, come on. Come on. No. Okay, something else I loved. I loved Stellan Skarsgård as the Baron Harkonnen.
I thought he did great too.
I loved his take on that character because until this point, both in the book and in all the translations, all we've seen is I'm the Baron Harkonnen. And this guy's just like, I will kill you all.
Yeah, I mean, he still had the things that were wrong with the Baron, like the debilitating disease that wasted his body and made him huge.
Yeah.
To the point where he couldn't walk.
But when he rose up,
it didn't affect his mind.
Yeah. When he rose up above the people in that scene where he just starts hovering above them, it's terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah. He plays the intimidation factor so well. And Stellan Skarsgård, like, I don't think they could have gotten anybody better.
No, the Baron was good. Though I do want to have a word with whoever did the audio mixing, because throughout a lot of this movie, it was hard to hear over the boams.
Yeah.
And just the soundtrack. Like you lost a lot of the dialogue, and there wasn't that much to begin with.
This was a problem that you and everyone else I've talked to has had, even the people who've given it nothing but stellar praise. I watched it at home on opening night on HBO in glorious 4K on my OLED television where I could pause it and take frequent bathroom breaks. And I watched it on a fantastic stereo system. And we had to like frequently rewind to try and rehear what someone said. And finally, we just turned the subtitles on.
Yeah. Yeah, that was bad. There needs to be a recut of this where it's just turned down.
Yeah.
I mean, what else did I like? I was sad there was no steamy fade. We need a steamy fade in winged trunks
about that. Yeah. Because a lot of people are thinking that he might be cut, or the other option would be that since Fade doesn't actually play any kind of an important role in the first half of the book, like he just sort of poses sexily and then shows up at the end to fight Paul.
Well, not in the book. In the first movie, yes. In the book, Fade is actually quite important. Raban there's a lot of back and forth with the Baron about grooming Fade to take over from Raban.
Yeah.
They're supposed to hate Raban, that's why he's squeezing, and then they're supposed to love Fade as their savior.
So I'm curious what they're going to do with that.
I liked that they took the time, that it was a long movie for a long book. I liked. I just, man, it did not hit me. I'm going to watch it again. I'm probably going to watch it again a few times and try and find that love, because Dune is in my top 3 of all time.
It's one of my favorite books. I love the books and the original Lynch movie so much I have quotes from them tattooed onto my flesh.
What'd you think of the box?
The box. Oh, I thought that was an interesting scene. Yeah. I also really liked that they went a different route with the portrayal of the Bene Gesserit character. I like that she just looked different. They made her different looking than the one from the Lynch movie that people have seen as the gold standard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think... Okay, here's what I liked and here's what I didn't like about the Reverend Mother Helen Gaius Mohiam. I did not like that she didn't speak with Jessica. Now that was a writing thing. That was a choice they made in script. That's not the actor's fault. What I loved about the actress, excuse me, was that she was so calm. Like the Bene Gesserit are supposed to have absolute mastery of emotion. That's one of their things.
Yep.
And I got that from her. There was no anger. Like everything was deadpan. She was flat the entire time, just observing. And while that is less impressive on the screen, that is terrifyingly accurate to what they're supposed to be. And I really liked that actress's portrayal of that.
Yeah, she was good. I wished that Thufir Hawat played a larger role. You barely see him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Gurney was kind of a goofball. Didn't like him. He's supposed to be a fighting man. And there was supposed to be a pug, and long live Duke Leto.
I'll be honest. I don't even remember him in the movie.
He was unmemorable.
Yeah.
Like Gurney is a big part of the story.
He's supposed to be Patrick Goddamn Stewart.
Yeah. In a skullet. I mean, Gurney's a big fucking deal. He's a singing troubadour fighting man. He is an old school drinker and wencher and killer. He is an amazing character, and they didn't do a damn thing with him.
Yeah, but they did a good job of portraying what happens when the hero first arrives at a new location in an RPG. Do you go talk to the king or do you go talk to the duke? No. Do you go talk to your mother? No. You go talk to the guy watering the goddamn trees. That's the first person you talk to.
I honestly like that they did include that though.
Yeah.
Because that was a pivotal moment for the Atreides. There is that there are 100 of us with the trees in their water. So I thought they included a lot of things that I really liked, but they just gave huge skips over things that I thought were important. Like the box was underplayed. The test was kind of underplayed of Paul. The betrayal of Yui was underplayed.
Yeah,
there was no sympathy built for Yui, and Yui is a very sympathetic character.
You get no feeling of who he is or why his betrayal is so fascinating.
And what bothers me is that they had the goddamn time.
Yeah,
they did.
Yeah,
and now something good, because there was good. I loved their sandworms. Their sandworms were badass.
Yeah, the sand filtering hairs.
The cilia, the giant cilia.
Let me tell you something. Watching that 4K on an OLED television. Terrifying.
They didn't give a good sense of size, though. They should have pulled back, like when that first harvester gets chomped. They really should have pulled back for that one, because that was something you got from the other one. Was they established the huge size of the machine, and then they pull back and you see it just engulfed by this huge maw.
I actually like that they didn't show any real component of the worm until that one scene later when it rears out, because it created this unseen threat. You see what it can do and you see evidence of its destruction, but you don't see it yet. And oftentimes revealing the monster too early, I think, does take away from its worth in a story. Like seeing that spice harvester just descend into the slightest shape of a giant maw lets you know that there's something terrifying there, and your imagination gets to fill in the rest.
Yeah.
Okay.
It stung a little. It stung a little bit. Okay. I'm inculcated to the Lynch version, and I'm sorry, we're running way long now, and this is my fault. Cowboy Bebop, what?
The Sardaukar I thought were fantastic. And I loved that strange Tuvan style throat chant that was going on. Yeah.
Yeah, but I did not like the inline pike fighting thing that they did.
What do you mean?
That was very samurai movie.
That
bothered me.
I appreciated it. I liked that they gave everything its own culture. And in the spots where the original book didn't have much to detail about the culture, like you don't know shit about the Sardaukar in the first book. All you know is that they're unstoppable and they belong to the Emperor. That's it. They're just his trained troops. So giving them some more personality, I thought made them more fearsome. It is really cool, though, to see all of those fights where nobody's shooting guns. Yeah. I love it because, like, in the future, guns are pointless. you have to get out there and stab your bad guys.
I'm really sorry. I need to talk about the shields since we're talking about guns. The penetrators for the shields were not consistent, and that bothered me.
They weren't. They really weren't.
It bothered me a lot. The slow blade, the fast blade. It was literally plot armor.
Yeah,
and it really bothered me
when Duncan was fighting them at the end.
Yeah, and they're stabbing full speed.
I was just like, no,
that's not how that works.
No. Here's the thing: Dune is a great story. And Fantastic. It's a lot deeper than people who've only watched the first movie or only read the first book understand. There's layers upon layers happening here. And I actually, at this point, we're 40 minutes in. I don't want to go too deep into talking more about Dune, but it creates a lot of imagination in its fans, a lot of, thought of potential. Like everybody's got their own vision of what's happening because Herbert is really good about talking about people's thoughts and intentions. There's a lot of internal dialogue, a lot of internal monologue, but there's not that much actual visual description of things that are happening. The books just kind of move right through that stuff and get to the politics. So everybody's got their own mental image of how it's going to look. And I like so far that we now have 3 visual incarnations of this. 4 visual incarnations of this.
What's the 4th?
The 4th is the only really bits of it, pieces surviving from Jodorowsky's version. Yeah. And that was fucking whack.
Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry. This is my fault. I still say this though, and that you can use this as the title. There was no goddamn pug.
Yeah. But if you want to see a pug, go watch The Mitchells versus the Machines. It's a fantastic movie. It's one of the best things I think I've seen all year. It's surprisingly amazing. And there's a pug in it, and the pug is actually the first ever animated dog voiced by a real life dog who was Doug the Pug, famous internet celebrity pug.
Nice.
It's great. It's fantastic. And it's got robots, and it's funny. So anyway. So
this was about a muskrat.
That was Muskrat. That was Whiff's story. Apparently, he went out and harvested some spice and came back, and that's why he's so bitter.
That works.